Good evening and welcome to the Sunday game. A bumper weekend of championship action, but no doubting the main event as the provincial round-robin hurling championships got underway. In Munster, a repeat of last year's All-Ireland final, and the clash of Tip and Limerick got things off to a blockbuster start.
Limerick's quest for a 7th Munster title in a row is underway. Tipperary haven't beaten Limerick in the championship since 2019.
A return to top-flight hurling for Offaly, while Kilkenny and Galway renewed their acquaintances in Leinster.
So all set for the championship meeting between these two counties, and straight away it's a real battle in the middle of the park here to try and get primary possession.
And plenty of high-profile football too, with some heavyweights in action and provincial final spots up for grabs.
It's a wet, miserable evening in Páirc Uí Chaoimh in Cork as Cork and Kerry face each other in a Munster Championship semi-final.
All the thrills and spills from week 3 of the championship coming your way over the next 2 hours. You don't want to miss this one. So an Easter feast of action for Neil and Liam to chat through shortly. And where else to start but with the Munster Hurling Championship. Limerick's chances of a 7th provincial title in a row potentially given a big boost with the return of All-Star keeper Nicky Quaid for their opening round clash with Tipperary. But could Tip cause an upset with their first win over Limerick since 2019?
It really is a crucial Munster Championship match. Real Munster Championship hurling and a huge game ahead of us at home. Tackles are going in ferociously and the crowd absolutely love it. It's a thing of beauty. This is hurling at its very best. Oh my word! Oh, fantastic goal!
Limerick's quest for a 7th Munster title in a row is underway. Tipperary haven't beaten Limerick in the championship since 2019. Ball clear, but it still should be gathered by Stakelem, and it is. Another chance for McCarthy, and McCarthy's eye is in. That's 2 points from play in the opening 5 minutes from Darren McCarthy. Casey out to Cian Lynch, and Limerick motoring. Brilliant pass by Lynch to pick out Shane O'Brien. This would be a lovely score. Shane O'Brien, and he fires over, and the scores are level. Look at the stick work here from Shane O'Brien. Superbly nutmeg 2 defenders and fired over. Tipperary hold on to possession through Brian O'Mara, being chased by Shane O'Brien. Still O'Mara, but he's going to lose it here. But well, Zimmer Burns tried to double on it, failed, and it's been picked up now by Brian O'Mara. Good run and a score by O'Mara. Well, there's perseverance for you by the wing back. Looked like he had lost possession, but Zimmer Burns couldn't win it back for Limerick here. And O'Mara picked it up, ran through and tapped over. Limerick looking to draw level. There's a chance of a goal maybe for Adam English. Taps it through the goalkeeper's legs, and Limerick get the first goal of the game through Adam English. His first ever goal in the championship, and Limerick lead by 2. Superb movement inside by the Limerick forwards. And look at this from Gillan. Small pass along the ground towards English, and a neat finish. Tom Morrissey. Coughlin drives it in, and Colin Coughlin has registered his first ever score in the championship. Brilliant point by Colin Coughlin, starting for Limerick for the first time today in the championship, and it's a really good point. And Tipperary have won it back here through Morgan. Morris. Tipperary need a score, and Morris delivers. That's a fantastic point by Jake Morris. Every possession so vital, and we haven't reached half-time as Ronan Maher takes a belt and goes to ground. Yellow card for Cian Lynch, the Limerick captain. That tackle on Ronan Maher, as Owen Connolly has the range, as we know. Again, it's It's a superb strike by Connolly, looking for his 4th point of the half. That's majestic from Owen Connolly. 4 superbly pointed frees. And Tipperary lead by 2. Kyle Hayes back to Dermot Burns. Hassled, great blocking down by the Tipperary players. They're hungry to win every possession back here, as Craig Morgan does well to pick out Jake Morris. Morris for Tipperary. Out towards Morgan. What a score this would be, and what a score it is from Craig Morgan. Tipperary fought like dogs to win back possession, and eventually Jake Morris fed Craig Morgan, who fired over. Half-time whistle goes. Tipperary finished the half with 5 points in a row, and it's the home side that lead at half-time. Colin Coughlin looking for the run of Shane O'Brien. What a take by O'Brien. Chance of a goal. Shane O'Brien, oh, buries it. Shane O'Brien gets his first ever goal in the championship, and what a goal it is. The ball into O'Brien was superb. He had a lot of work to do, took it brilliantly, and that is an unerring finish from Shane O'Brien. Lynch, brilliant in these situations at picking up the sliotar, and he gets a half pass away to Barry Nash, looking for his first score of the game. Superb by Barry Nash. But look at this, it's all about the skill set of Cian Lynch here in tight situations, and the vision to pick out Barry Nash. Look at this for a pass, brilliant, and a great finish from Nash. Tip playing into the breeze in the second half. They need a score, and maybe Craig Morgan can help it. Out towards McGrath. John McGrath! What a goal by John McGrath! That's just what the Tipperary fans wanted. Great pass inside to McGrath. And that is brilliant. The vision of Craig Morgan to pick out McGrath. Great goal. Cian Lynch. Out to Tom Morrissey. Tom Morrissey drives this one in high, and Morrissey has registered his first score of the game, and it's come 9 minutes into the second half. Dermot Burns and a shove in the back there, but the referee happy. Darragh McCarthy. Here's Morris. Still Morris getting away from his man, and Morris has fired over. Brilliant score by Morris. Limerick fans not happy, but Jake Morris registers a hard-won score. Picked up by McGrath, and he finds Brian O'Mara. Still Brian O'Mara to Morris. Picked up here now by Conor Bowe. This is a brilliant Tipperary move. Ball inside to John McGrath. Oh, what a goal by John McGrath! His second goal of the game in one of the best team moves you will see all year. It started deep in Tipperary's half. They worked it through the lines, and the ball came to McGrath. What a finish! Barry Hogan drives it long, broken down by Coughlin, picked up by Cian Lynch. Still Cian Lynch gets a pass away, and it's on from O'Connor, and a chance for Burns, and Dermot Burns has equalised. Come at the hour, come at the man. 4 minutes of additional time has just been announced. Casey has it. Brilliant footwork from Casey. Gets the pass inside towards Aidan O'Connor. He's under pressure, and he's given a free in. Foul committed by Noel McGrath. Here's Aidan O'Connor, and just there, Ronan Maher with the initial challenge. Aaron Gillan to give the Munster champions the lead. We played 2 minutes of additional time, and Gillan strikes this one cleanly, and Limerick lead by a point. Can Tipperary find an equaliser? That one brilliantly gathered by Reedy, who picks out William O'Donoghue, and the referee has decided that ball was thrown, and Tipperary have been given a free in. Huge pressure on the young man's shoulders. McCarthy strikes this one between the posts. That's brilliant from Darragh McCarthy, and the sides are level. And the referee blows his whistle, an absolute absolutely brilliant Munster Championship clash between John Kiely and Liam Cahill's men. It's ended Tipperary 223, Limerick 223.
Brilliant is definitely one way of describing it. What an afternoon of hurling, Liam. And you look at the improvement from a Tipperary point of view from a league final to getting to that stage today, it's been significant.
It has been significant, and even if you go back to last year's championship and you see where they've got to this year's championship on day one of the championship, I think it's exceptional. I think the management and the players, they all deserve huge credits for where they've come from. I mean, we've got to remember there was 4 guys making their debut in the Munster Championship in that cauldron in Thurles today. 2 of them played under 20 during the week, you know, Sam Farrell and Darren McCarthy. And to see the way they went about the business, I mean, Owen Connolly, 4 long-range points were off the charts in the first half. Jake Morris had 4 from play, took Will O'Donoghue really put him under pressure in that first period, and John McGrath, you know, I mean, we see him doing it all the time for Lockmore, but he was reeling in the ears today with 2-1 from play, and yeah, overall Tipperary will be delighted the way they showed up in Thurles today.
Yeah. What about Limerick then, Neil? What's the other side of the coin look like?
I think we have to remember that they drew. They weren't beat. There will be no panic in Limerick. You know, John Kiely will not be panicking. We've seen this movie before where they're not brilliant in the first game of Munster and they kind of find their rhythm and then they get to Croke Park and they just start blowing people away. But, you know, they have Dara O'Donovan to come back. They have Declan Hannon to come back. They have Dan Morrissey to come back. Those are 3 incredible players. And they weren't actually out-battled. Tipperary just got to the same level as Limerick today, which surprised an awful lot of us. So I think, you know, things will be measured, things will be obviously analysed, but Limerick will still be an unbelievable force to reckon with come the back end of this championship. Yeah,
they've got to get out first. I guess that's the big part of it. What about Tipperary's performance then, Liam, when you analyse it? Neil is absolutely right. It's the energy, it's the performance that they brought right from the throw-in. Yeah, well, it's really hard to against a team like Limerick, you've got to bring high energy. And I mean, what a battle we had between Mikey Breen and Aaron Gillan today. And Mikey was outstanding, I thought, all through, you know, and winning ball and going toe-to-toe. And so often, you know, OK, you know, they lost the ball here, but when they win it back, you're generally waiting for the ball to end up in the inside forward. Watch the pressure here from this Tipper. I mean, they were ravenous around the ball today, and they just showed a massive intent and hunger. And you watch the number of bodies. I mean, quite often you see it's Limerick that outnumber you. There's 10 Tipperary players in there, so when they went in, they were going in to win the ball. And this guy, if his brother was reeling in the ears, this guy's reeling in the decades. What a man, you know. And here we had Brian O'Mara. I thought Brian O'Mara was exceptional at wing back today. Conor Bowe does really well, gets it back to Brian. And it's very rarely you see this, Joanne, where 6 Limerick players are now chasing back to try and cover off Tipperary. John McGrath, cool as you like, took the 5 steps and then picks his spot and smacks it to the back of the net. And I just thought the energy all through, and I suppose they've seen it right to the end. You know, it's the 72nd minute. Again, normally when David Reedy gets this ball, you're only waiting for it to end up in the edge of the square. Watch the intent again from Tipperary. They managed to close Will O'Donoghue down. And look at, you know, I thought Thomas done a really good job in refereeing it in the middle, but it was a hard call. But it was some of them, were they throws, weren't throws. It's hard to call. Tip got the break there, but I think overall a draw was a fair result. But Liam Cahill and Mikey Beavens will be delighted at the level of energy and passion that their players showed in that pitch today. Liam talked about some of the newer players for Tipperary. Similar situation with Limerick, some new faces who really stepped up there today as well. Absolutely, Jackie. You know, I know they're missing big players, but whenever you see Adam English finishing this with aplomb, just the deftest of touches, you know, through Barry's legs, but it's the ball from Aaron Gillan. A lot of people thought it was a block down. Aaron Gillan knew exactly what he was doing there, and he was incredible. But whenever the ball gets into the bull, and he just takes on Mikey Breen, he has goal in his mind that every time he gets the ball in his hand, and he rifles that, and no chance at all there. He was very impressive, but they were ably assisted by this man, Cian Lynch. He handles the ball with the most care of any player in the game. He does not give away possession. If you leave him unmarked, he is going to punish you. He actually hurts you more with his passing than his scoring. In tight quarters, there's nobody better in the game than that man. And whenever he's feeding the Bull O'Brien, that's a dangerous combination. The trickiest thing for John Kiely is now how he marries them all, Liam. How he finds that new blood with some of the older players, and I guess does he know who his best 15 are yet? Yeah, or even positioning of them. You know, I think he's not clear on what his best 15 are, and I don't think he's clear on what position to tie down. I mean, we've seen Kyle Hayes going back up to number 11 today. Will O'Donoghue, you'd have to say, in the first half centre back, Jake took him for 3 points in play. So, you know, overall, I think Limerick it's a bedding in period. But just watching the two managers meeting when Liam and John Kiely met, I think both of them were happy to say, OK, we're out of the blocks.
nothing lost. We've got a point, but I think John Kiley will be expecting a different level of performance from. But he's got a bit of time now. Whereas obviously Liam Calley's got to go down and face into Cork next weekend. So that's a tough ask after such an enthralling game today.
One last thing before we move on from Limerick. Nicky Quaid. I mean, during the week we hear he's coming back like Lazarus, and suddenly he's back into the goals today like he was never gone.
Incredible. That period of turnaround wouldn't even be associated with professional sport at the highest level. So it just shows you what Nicky Quaid is doing, and God, we'd love to know what he's doing, because it is incredible. But he dedicates his life to this sport. He's been the #1 keeper in the country now for the last decade. His pockouts game were right on point. He's had no game now for a long period of time. Like Limerick, there's a little bit of rust there in their general performance, having no game in a month. But he's been incredible. He's a massive part of their team, and he's only going to grow into this championship and add more and more to it as it progresses as well. Yeah, well, if this Munster Championship keeps progressing like it has been, it is going to be something to watch, because today's other clash certainly didn't need much hype either. League champions versus the All-Ireland champions in a repeat of last year's decider. A packed Cusack Park, so the Rebels come to town chasing a first championship win over Clare since 2021.
It's the sound of the summer. The birds singing, the crowds roaring, and it's the clash of the ass. It's the Munster Hurling Championship. It's the battle of the champions. All-Ireland champions Clare against the newly crowned league champions Cork. Scooping the forward is Darren Fitzgibbon, who's already scored a point. Heading towards the D, heading towards the 20. Here comes the shot, and that is going to be another point. Good score by Darren Fitzgibbon. Ever Quilligan going for the middle channel this time. Beautifully gathered, and Tony Kelly has it. Heading towards goal, and decides to take the point. There was acres of Cusack Park in front of him, but he decided, wisely perhaps, to take the score. Comes far as Darragh Fitzgibbon. 3 against 3 again. Little Pullaby hurling. Brian Hayes getting away from Darragh Fitzgibbon. Trying to come in along the end line. Still coming along the end line. Brilliant. Simplicity again. Causing problems as he did in the Alliance Hurling League 5 weeks ago. The St. Finbarr's man rattles the back of the Clare net after just 12 and a half minutes.
Yeah, that's too easy, Martin. Away. Look at Dermot Lee. He kind of stood off. Darren unbeaten. Came in late. Brilliant goal. The taste of the tuck-outs is really what's catching him, Martin.
Tuck-out comes to Ethan Toomey. Sending it heading towards Patrick Cork. Beautiful wrists. Laying it onto the tackle of Alan Connolly. Glen Rovers and Blackrock combining here. Connolly, there's another goal coming. Brian Hayes, back in the net. The 3 lads in the full forward line that have been causing problems since 2 o'clock this afternoon have combined magnificently. Hoggy, Connolly, Hayes, back in the net. Cork, second goal. Tim O'Mahony kicks it forward, coming across is Ryan Taylor. Nice pick up by Alan Connolly. In front of the River Fergus. And stand at the far side. Now that is a wonderful piece of point scoring. Nephew of Tom and Jim Cashman. The hurling is in the blood. Now that is just sheer utter class. Good ball up towards Mark Rogers. And the ball comes up towards David Fitzgerald. Has to try and gather it into hand, but manages to get it back towards Mark Rogers. Aidan McCarthy's inside. Here's Mark Rogers bearing down the goal. Here's Aidan McCarthy. They're back in business, if only just. Wonderfully worked goal. And the hearts of the people of Clare have skipped a beat right now, because it looked forlorn, but there is now a chance that Clare will put it up to the league champions in the second half. Huggy gets a touch, Ever Quilligan gathers it, sends it out first Tony Kelly on his own 20-metre line. He's looking at the options, he's going to drop it long. It is the long ball that's going to possibly work. Peter Duggan knocks it down for David Rainey. David Rainey! And the All-Ireland champions get their second goal! The game is not over after all. The people of Clare are now enjoying the moment. After a torrid opening 35 minutes, they are now unequivocally back in the game.
Yeah, but brilliant knockdown by Duggan.
on. Danger here from a Clare perspective. Alan Conlon is in there. Darragh Lohan flicks it over the shoulder and up. What a score! What a score! Alan Conlon. It's a little piece of magic here. Just watch the wrists. Watch the stick work. With one hand over the crossbar. Eibhear Quilligan going long, aiming for David Fitzgerald or Peter Duggan. Between them, they have it. Peter Duggan, one-handed, tries to get the slippers of the hurling from the boss of the hurling. And if Alan Connolly can do it at one end, Peter Duggan can do it at the other. It's his first point in the match, but my gosh, did he have to work hard for it. Surrounded by 3 Cork players, Shane Barrett being pushed away by David McInerney for the challenge. Was surely spotted by the linesman Michael Kennedy from Tipperary. Let's have a look at it here. Looks like he could be a bother, yeah. It is a straight red for Shane Barrett. Tim O'Mahony goes for distance, goes for the score. And Eibhear Quilligan can only get the boss of the hurley to it. And it just popped over the crossbar onto the top of the net for his second point of the game. Great score, Tim O'Mahony. Ball is loose. They're trying to dig it out. Away comes Tony Kelly. Over for David Reedy. Scooping it high. He's aiming for the big man, 6'7". Peter Duggan. And he found him. Duggan bearing down, trying to get away. Now takes his shot. Oh, take the back of the net. Duggan. Oh, 6'7". 31 years of age. Scores a cracking goal that gives everybody in Cusack Park from the county of Clare renewed hope again.
And Marty, look at that, the way he switched hands again under that high ball. The skill level of that.
Possession now, absolutely crucial for both counties. Ian Galbraith, lovely stick work. Sean O'Donoghue, Galbraith. They love it. They love it at the far side. Now you see why Clare won the All-Ireland last year.
Absolutely, Martin. But what an impact Ian Galbraith has had.
Quick combination as Tony Kelly goes on. He's going to go for it. It's flying through the air. It's dropping over the crossbar. Clare are level. 12 points down at the break. Lohan's army has responded to the biggest challenge. Is there one more score left in Cusack Park? What a catch. Surely that's a foul. Aaron Shanahan. Is he the hero? David Reedy, dead straight in front of the post. He's from the town of Ennis. He's heading towards the town of Ennis. He lifts, strikes, and Clare are in front. How much is left? We're gone past the 76th minute. Can Cork get an equaliser? David McInerney, Clare look inspired. They give it, the ball is given away. Shane Kingston, is it Kieran Joyce who's going to do it? Surely he's found. It's a free in for Cork. Wonderful atmosphere. Declan Dalton sending that between the posts and over the bar. The sides are level again, only for the second time. How much more is the referee going to put us through? The answer is no more time. What a game! The game that we would be talking about for a long time. Full-time score in Ennis. Clare, 3 goals, 21 points. Cork, 2 goals and 24.
Before half-time, we started to win our own puck out and got a couple of scores from play and gave us a bit of confidence, and we were able to bring that through to the second half.
Look, obviously, look delighted with our first half performance. That 10 minutes after half-time, Clare got a run on us and got a couple of great scores, and looking fairness to them, they're All-Ireland champions. We came up to Ennis. Look, if you told me I was going to get a point this morning, I would have taken it. That's what the Munster Championship is, a marathon, it's not a sprint. Do you know what I mean? We're looking to get 5-6 points and qualify out of it, and look, that gives us a great opportunity against Tipperary next week. We'll get an opportunity to watch their game and see how they get on against Limerick, and we'll move on to Tipperary.
Yeah, philosophical from Pat saying this morning he'd have taken a point, but I'm not sure if he would have felt that. They're 9 points up, 57 minutes gone in the game, and there's a massive turning point, Neil, that just changes the whole trajectory.
It's huge, Jackie. I think whenever Shane Barrett looks back on this, he will have his head in his hands for a second time, because, there might not be a pile in it, but whenever you throw an elbow and it catches somebody, you're gone. It's a red card every day of the week. But it was how Clare used the spare man that was so impressive. They let Cork get off one short puck out after they went the man up, and you're about to see it here. Look, whenever Niall's left free, he's always going to get it up the field a good distance, but it was the one time that they actually got to do that. John Conlon obviously got the troops organised at the back and said, I'll be sweeping, everybody else is going to press, and you can see it here, not only in the full forward line but in the half forward line. There was no options. Patrick Collins had to go long and actually forced an error. You know, they're only 1 point behind at this stage, Clare. TK knows there's got to be a spare man somewhere. We're a man up. He plays a lovely 1-2 with Cathal Malone, and whenever he gets into his stride, moving forward like this off his left-hand side, we have seen this time and time again. It's a fantastic score, and Brian Lohan will be absolutely delighted with how they set up whenever they did go a man up, and it was the pivotal point in that game because they nullified the Cork puck-out, which had actually yielded, I think it was 2-6 in the first half for them.
Yeah, but Brian Lohan will be thrilled. But on the other side then, Cork must be thinking they were 12 points up at half-time. There's a run there where they go 1-6 completely unanswered. And it's not the first time that they have gone to sleep in a second half, Liam.
No, it's a big concern for Cork. I mean, they brought on John Merrick at the back. I thought he'd done very well after Robert Downey went off. But they brought on 4 forwards who spent a collective 80 minutes on the pitch up front and only scored 1 point between them. And that's sort of similar with what happened in the league final where the bench had. So Pat Ryan will be really concerned about the bench impact because yet again, for the second week in 3, they have delivered.
What we have seen today is the glory days are still there because with all the brilliance we've seen, Route 1 still works, Liam.
Yeah, it does, and you know, there's teams doing hours and hours of analysis, but you know what? Sometimes they tried and trust, they just bang it down there and get it down. And again, Cork have really perfected this. Alan Connolly gets a lovely touch, Seamus Harnedy, they're very, very good at that. So, and there was a bit of a breeze here, but again, look at the way there's 3-on-3. Cork have been at this all year where they go 3-on-3 up top, and look at the separation they have with no other clear defender inside. They have enough in their hands trying to mind their own players, so as a result, Brian Hayes, himself and Alan Connolly, all they want to do is run at you. How many times have we seen this happen already in the league this year? Brian Hayes is on fire in this championship. But again, you know, Clare done it to them in the second half. A great touchdown there, you know, by Clare, and Peter Duggan was a real handful. And, you know, I suppose when you look back on it, a lot of talk about, you know, the 6-20 they scored against Clare in the league. But the one thing that Clare learnt and Brian Lohan learnt was actually Peter Duggan on the edge of the square was really causing Owen Downey problems in that league, and I tell you the problems went on again today because he was a handful. He can catch it in both hands, and this man Aaron Shanahan, how many times have we seen him come off the bench and go in and gets his hands on a great ball as well. So as I said, sometimes every team is trying to work, you know, sort out this team, where's this weakness, where that weakness. If you pop it in, you have a great chance. Clare scored 3-12 in that second half. Cork scored 2-15 in that first half, and a lot of it came from Route 1 ball.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? The more things change, the more they stay the same. The Munster Championship just delivers again, Neil. And I know sometimes when it comes and it gets compared to everything else, but you look at it today, packed stadiums, individual brilliance. There's just so much to love about this championship.
Every time there's a weekend of Munster Championship hurling, it's like Mardi Gras. Every time, you know, like we obviously had Leinster hurling yesterday, but it just doesn't compare to this, really. You know, it is a different level, and like things like this, you know, there's great full-blooded tackle between Tim O'Mahony and I think it was Ryan Taylor just before that. But then that point, you know, he just spins out of it, shoots from an absolutely ridiculous place, and you know what's going over. But I think it's the full-bloodedness of the game, the way the lads play, and they know in these games they're going to be allowed to go at it 110%. The game will only be stopped when it absolutely has to be, and it allows for moments of brilliant. That from Peter Duggan, who was great all day, and Alan Connolly, who seems to have a little bit of a feel for the outrageous.
Yeah, he does, and he's very, very good. And again, like Ian Galvin, I thought, you know, Clare's bench really came good today for him. I mean, you know, that's a really, really difficult score. The way he turned Sean O'Donoghue has been in top-class form all year, but the way Ian Galvin spun him and got it back to that 1 point, I mean, there was just moments there where, from a hurling perspective, you know, the game had really a huge amount that we could all live off. And again, it whets the appetite for what's going to come in the next 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah, one last question on it. Does 2 draws leave it wide open now for the Munster Championship?
Yeah,
does it help?
I think it definitely does. I mean, like Waterford now are, you know, if Clare coming to town next weekend, if they get a result there, that puts them on 2 points. And likewise, Tip go to Cork, you know, they'll probably have learnt a lot from their league final defeat. So, and they'll be buoyed by the performance they had today. Cork at that second half, they'll have a lot of questions to ask. So, you know, I think it makes for a really, really good, interesting championship. I mean, sometimes we all said, look, it's going to be Cork and Limerick, and let's see who follows them in third position. I think everyone's thinking a little bit differently tonight.
Well, I think you're just giving Tipperary a go now as well. We'll see. Right, look, we're going to take a quick break here on the programme, but plenty more still to come, because after the break, we are going to turn our attention to the Leinster Championship, including the latest instalment of the Cats against the Tribesmen.
Championship. For more great shows, go to the RTE Player app on Sky.
Welcome back. Kilkenny and Galway have produced some epic encounters and unforgettable moments down through the years. With 2 draws and 1 point margin in their last 3 championship meetings, this one had a lot to live up to.
And away we go. And straight away it's a real battle in the middle of the park here to try and get primary possession. That's not going to be easy. The pitch, by the way, was very, very damp yesterday, and there was a needed doubt that it might ever be able to be played today because of the conditions. But it's Tiernan Killeen here looking to get the opening point, and he does so inside 18 seconds. What a very good start by the man from Loughrea.
Yeah, great start there.
Beautifully cut there by Billy Ryan. And Ryan gets away from the man who was marking him, hits the shot in. Out comes Fahy here in a bit of difficulty, a lot of difficulty and a lot of pressure being applied. And here's the opportunity to score, and it's tapped in the end. Adrian Mullen, opening goal for Kilkenny in this year's championship.
Billy Ryan, left hand coming out from deep, aimed down top of McAsey. Misfortune for the Galway keeper, but a great start for Kilkenny. Of course, on rebounds like that, they're lethal.
Derek Fahy driving it a long, long way towards Concannon, the obvious target. And then he ran into, I think it's Paddy Deegan, picked himself up, however, and got back on with it again. Cathal Mannion surrounded, gets it in well as far as John Fleming, and Fleming eyes the target and finds the range again. 2 in a row by John Fleming, not half bad. 1-3 to 6 points. Mikey Kerry that time in there as far as Cian Kenny, switching it across over here towards Mossy Keown. When he gets it, he spells danger. The angle is tight this time. Can he make it? Oh, brilliantly done.
Yeah, and a good pass into him as well, just outside him. Gave him the opportunity to get on Fintan Burke here. He's able to get it over the bar off his left, a tight angle into whatever breeze is there.
Cody went for it. Trying to come across and get to it was Mikey Carey. Picking it up as Cian Kenny. A little hand pass comes across. That's McAsey hitting his shot. Yep. Great point. Very, very well done by Fionn McAsey. Galway, of course, coming back to Nolan Park for the 2nd time this year. They were here in the 2nd game of the league. There's Cathal Mannion for Galway. They need to get a point. Close the gap. He's delivered. 5 for him.
The way he hit this is easy through the ball, just floated up in the air, just drops over the bar.
John Fleming back in there battling but losing it. Fed forward here, and that in the end is hit nicely inside the left-hand upright and over the crossbar, and it's Mikey Carey with the opening point of the 2nd half. So now it's a 7-point lead for Kilkenny. Brilliantly taken down. That is Blanchfield. Forward there as far as Owen Cody. Might get worse from a Galway point of view. That's another one. 2 in a row. Cody with 3. Galway now 116 to 11 points. They've only played about 40 seconds of the 2nd half. Cian Kenny. Into the corner. Mossy Keown keeping it in play. Getting there ahead of Pádraig Mannion. Keown, ever dangerous. Looking to be the supplier this time, maybe for Stephen Donnelly. Stephen takes it down and wallops it over the crossbar. Very hard-working Kilkenny forward line that time. Great work by Stephen Donnelly to score. Even better work there by Mossy Keown to keep it alive.
It was some catch here because he got a fair rattle after he got it.
And that's hit in there by Conor Whelan, and Whelan gets a white flag. A point for the Galway captain.
That's where you want Whelan on the ball inside there.
Towards Fionn McAsey. Fed outside to the left-hand side, or tried to. Mannion got there first. It's anybody's ball at this stage. Greasy conditions. Owen Cody raiding, going forward, storming ahead. There's a goal on here for Kilkenny, and Owen Cody has got it. It's their 2nd goal of the game. Owen Cody, with his 12th ever, comes after 58 minutes.
Yeah, Cody, in fairness to him, said it before the game, he's the poacher, he's the guy who gets the quality goals. You see him getting in here, It's a lovely, lovely finish.
And that's Tommy Walsh, just on. I'd say he's on about 60 seconds. And that nearly ended up on the back of the net with Mossy Keown looking for his goal after that ball was sent in by Tommy Walsh. But now there might be a point out of it. If at first you don't succeed, keep on going.
Great reflexes, what guys are doing all the time in training.
So another couple of minutes still to play out here. And another one maybe for Mossy Keown this time. It adds to his goals tally, and that's 12. And Derek Ling shows no emotion, but they lead by 3-24 to 21 points.
See him here, he just gets away, just lets the ball through, breaks it down lovely.
The referee blows his whistle, and it's all over, and Kilkenny have beaten Galway in the opening round of this year's Leinster Hurling Championship. This is how it has finished here. Kilkenny 3 goals and 24 points. Galway 21 points.
We know that's not an acceptable performance for our Galway team. I thought we started well second quarter when Kilkenny got on top and they turned it into a 6-point lead, and going into half time, and then for the second half obviously we're chasing it and you're leaving yourself open, and when you get turned over against a quality team, you know, they punish you, and ultimately that's what they did.
I think we started the second half fairly well, and we upped the work rate, which is really important. And, you know, all throughout I thought we were quite consistent there. There's a long way to go yet, and we have to keep working on that. It wasn't perfect, but look, like I said, it was a good start, and it's game 1 of 5 now, so we get ready for next week.
Yeah, long road for Kilkenny, you'd imagine, after that, but this one just certainly didn't even live up to the billing, Neil. We talked about it being close and everything. There was nothing like it.
No, it looked like Kilkenny were just a power above, that's the truth, and they were so strong. They love getting the ball inside to Mossy and to Owen Cody. Like, they look so dangerous. They're both really powerful. They can win their own ball and they go direct. That's the thing about them. They try for a goal first time, every time. And if they get pushed back, then they'll flick it over the bar. But they've TJ to come back. They're motoring really nicely. You know, Fionn Mackesy has come in, give them something. Even, you know, Stephen Donnelly come off the bench. He looked to be somebody who was, you know, fitting in very nicely to the style of play. Kilkenny were in a different level to Galway yesterday.
Yeah, they were. It's apparent all over the field, Liam, because it's not just how brilliant Kilkenny were, it's maybe how poor Galway were too.
Yeah, they really had him in every facet of the game yesterday. You know, was really impressed with Kilkenny. You know, yeah, long puck out here, and again, watch Billy Ryan. You know, he's got separation from TJ Brennan, and he's putting his hand up saying, "This is my ball." No one from Galway really contests. As soon as he comes down, he's going goalward. That actually ball went up in the net. What contrast this with, you know, Galway? Here there's TJ Brennan. There's no connection between TJ Brennan and his inside line. It ends up putting an aimless ball up 50-50, mopped up, and straight away Kilkenny are on the attack again. Again, a puck out here. You know, this is where you should have the advantage. Watch the intention here from 5 Kilkenny players all heading towards the ball, 1v1, and the next 4 coming are all Kilkenny men. They mop it up again. Look at the pressure that TJ Brennan is under here when he's trying to strike the ball. And watch Mikey Butler here. He gets on the outside of Conor Whelan and wins the free. And himself and Hugh Lawler gave a masterclass on how to play inside backline defending yesterday. And this is just too easy for me. Out to Fionn Mackesy from Paddy Deegan. You know, Blanchfield comes up, back into Stephen Donnelly, Fionn Mackesy. 5 passes. All within the ball out to the 65 with 5 passes and not at Love laden him. So Micheál Donoghue, I'd say, was really cross. You could see in his interview there afterwards, he knows that's not the standard. And it's a big 7 days for this team. But for Kilkenny, you know, they got caught again Carlow last year, so they're coming up the road to see Neil's team next weekend. You may be sure they'll be on high alert, but they made a very impressive start to the Leinster Championship yesterday.
But from Micheál Donoghue, you see him there shaking his head. He says in his interview, unacceptable, but this feels like this has been coming. I mean, they look like they've actually regressed, Neil.
Yeah. During the league, it was just inconsistent because they had good performances followed by bad, and you miss your leaders, and nobody more so than Daithí Burke. The difference he made was he on for the last 15?
Yeah.
You know, he made a huge difference, and that man needs to be at the centre of the defence because obviously they were being switched around. You know, Owen Cody, Mossy Keown, Billy Ryan, 1 or 2 were inside at all times with somebody else roving. Daithí Burke needs to just anchor that defence and then build from there.
Yeah, maybe a bit for
I think also, like, it was not a bad time for it to happen. Away to Kilkenny in the first game, but like the warning signs are on now, it's a big week for Galway hurling because they go to Tullamore next weekend.
Yeah, more on that when we come back to it, because Offaly made their return to the Leinster Championship for the first time since 2018 and began with a crucial clash against Dublin. There was only a point between the sides in their league meeting this year, and another tight battle was on the cards in Parnell Park last night.
Long way back here for Offaly. Almost on the end line. Mark Troy as he goes short. And now takes the return up to the 45. Now belts it long. This one will fall into the danger area and it might fall the way of an Offaly player. It's in! A goal for Offaly from Oisín Kelly. Conor Donoghue. That's a fine ball inside. And Dublin will try and engineer something from here. Offaly trying to defend. Dublin player down injured. Meantime, Diarmuid O'Dooling sweeps up possession and pops over the point, pushing Dublin in front again. Looked like Dublin might have got possession from that, but instead it's picked up by Dan Ravenhill for Offaly. And the corner forward finds the range to level things up once more from just inside the 45. Good build-up from Dublin, and now they're up towards the halfway line, working it through the hands. Difficult conditions. Here it comes towards Sean Curry, sending it in high, and the umpires say that one has gone between the uprights from Sean Curry. Oh, very tight. Often get it through Dan Burke. Squeezes it out somehow, and it's flicked away. Charlie Mitchell just about had the room to take on the shot. Charlie Mitchell, and it just about gets past the post as well. That's a fine score, and Offaly have played really well in this first half. Again, Dublin going through the hands. Out it comes, and sitting in the pocket is Chris Crummy from right on the halfway line. And that one sails over the crossbar. That levels things up here at Parnell Park. Possession there. Dublin with plenty of bodies back in a defensive position. They've got it now. Challenge coming in from Cathal King, and Offaly have it back now. Dublin a little bit exposed. It's found its way to Killian Sampson. And into the net it goes. The goalkeeper wrong-footed. It took a deflection. But Offaly get their goal. Dublin with work to do here on home turf. Offaly impressive so far, but here's a chance for a Dublin point. Conor Burke, and that's an important score. They needed that, and Conor Burke provides it. Sampson. 4 Offaly players converging in around possession. Duignan has it, just backpedaling as he takes on that shot. He kept his balance well, and Brian Duignan has scored a fine point for Offaly, keeping their noses in front. Driving down the heart of the defence is Brian Hayes now. Still Brian Hayes, plays it outside, shooting opportunity, difficult angle for Sean Curry, and he opts to take the point in the end. Chance created by the good work from Brian Hayes. Magnificent catch in the air, and now Offaly might be away again. Dublin defending well. Ball played through. Things opening up here again. Is there a point at the end of it for Offaly? There is. From Dan Burke. Crummy. Launching it in. 2 Dublin players in along there. And now the chance for the goal! What a great finish from Ronan Hayes. Just what Dublin needed. What a contest this has developed into. Offaly have been superb all the way through. Can they get a score here? And over it goes. They lead again, the visitors. Dan Ravenhill with the point. Dublin fighting for their lives. That ball has found its way through to Hayes again. Ups for the point this time. What an impact he's made off the bench. Every ball crucial now. Dublin with the shooting opportunity. John Heatherton looking to put it over the bar. And he's got it as well. What a score. Offaly need something. Dublin trying to defend. They haven't been able to clear it the first time of asking, and that'll be a free. There'll be a chance for Offaly. They need to try and find the net from here. It'll be Dan Ravenhill. Is there a way through? The answer is no. Dublin defend it well. Now, is there time? The whistle's around Parnell Park, but there's the important one for the referee. It's finished Dublin 125, Offaly 219.
Well, the other game in Leinster saw Wexford Park host the meeting of Wexford and Antrim as Davy Fitz came up against another of his old teams.
Antrim beat Wexford in Corrigan Park 12 months ago. Wexford's first ever championship loss to Antrim, and Davy Fitz's side got a second-minute penalty when Sean Elliott was dragged to the ground. But Gerald Walsh blasted a resultant penalty over the crossbar. Antrim then got 3 of the next 4 points, and they're now led by 4, courtesy of this point from Sean Elliott. Wexford, though, began to settle and eat into the early Antrim advantage. The influential Lee Chin started to make his mark with 5 points, and Wexford then led for the first time as Rory O'Connor gave them a 7-6 lead. However, Wexford were leading by 2 as Jack O'Connor got into an altercation with the Antrim defender Joe Maskey as Charlie McGuckin's effort was wide, and after consulting with his umpires, referee Colin Lyons produced a straight red card. Despite being a man down, Wexford moved 6 points clear early in the second half, and that was back to 5 as Keelan Malloy saw his goal-bound effort deflected over by the Wexford keeper, Mark Fanning. Wexford, though, after a pair of Antrim points, got a vital goal in the 55th minute as Kevin Foley grabbed a puck out to blast home his 3rd ever championship goal. There was a further blow for Antrim when they lost defender Conor Boyd to his 2nd yellow for a challenge on Kevin Foley. Referee Lyons producing 2 yellows and then a red to the already yellow-carded Boyd. And both sides now down to 14 players. Wexford then got a 2nd goal on the hour mark. Defender Keane Malloy, on his championship debut, was allowed to go an awful long way before Keane Byrne was the beneficiary of Malloy's scooped pass, and he raised the green flag. It's Dublin next for Wexford, while Antrim will face Kilkenny. As it finished, Wexford 224, Antrim 19 points.
So interesting landscape in Leinster. Let's start with that Dublin game then, Liam, because it seems if Dublin are going to come out of Leinster, that midfield crux of where they drive the whole thing seems to be moving quite well for them.
Yeah, I've been very, very impressed with Conor Donoghue and Conor Burke. And it's not just in this match last night. I mean, throughout the league, they've consistently been tipping 2 or 3 points every game. And, like, they're very, very effective. And you know, Dublin have a really nice brand of they're very good at moving the ball off the shoulder, man in the best position, and getting the point away. And I mean, in a game that was won by 3 points, 5 points from your 2 midfielders is a massive return. So like they're a really, really good, effective duo, and they got great backup. I mean, there's some really good players. Chris Crummy was very, very solid, and you know the Hayes brothers were very, very good last night. So, and again, look at this off the shoulder, Conor Burke. As soon as you go forward, you can nearly catch the white flag and say, time to raise it now, because Conor's on the front foot. When he's on the front foot like that, 9 times out of 10 they're going over the bar. And again, I think for Dublin last night, that was a big statement for them to come out on top there, because Offaly, to their credit, you know, it's a big step up into this level. They were absolutely momentous right throughout that game, and Dublin needed every bit of it. But I thought their midfield partnership had a big role to play in the victory.
It's a big step for them, though, as well, Neil, because I think a lot of people looking at it before wouldn't have had Dublin as one of their contenders. It feels in some quarters they've been disrespected in the Leinster Championship.
I actually can't believe it, Jackie. You know, I've heard so many different people giving their top 3, and Dublin seem to be very seldom included. Like, let's think back to last year. They were the team that made the Leinster final against Kilkenny, and it is a bit of Kilkenny and the rest. So they also went into the quarter-final and give Cork loads of it. You know, let's give them credit for what they've done. I think they're definitely the 2nd best team in Leinster at the minute. That's my opinion on Dublin. I think they've got quality. I think they've got a bench. You see Danny Sutcliffe coming on. You know, a lot of people haven't been speaking about him, giving all sorts of trouble under the aerial ball. And look, I think they're a serious team, and I would not be one bit surprised if they're number 2 in Leinster again this year.
What about Offaly then, Liam? Because you're right, a brilliant step up for them, but they didn't close it out. I heard Johnny Kelly saying they're going to learn an awful lot out of this. They're on a steep learning curve, but at some point they're going to have to start winning those games.
They are, but if you think of where Offaly are at and where this Dublin team are at, I mean, look at the level of experience that Dublin have and what Offaly have. I mean, to be as close as they were and to get themselves down the home straight, their fans are connected to them. There's a great spirit about the group. I think they're on a steep learning curve, and nights like you cannot train for nights like last night. Like nights like last night will bring that group on a huge amount, and Adam Screen and other players to come back in. You know, there's youth coming in behind them. So I think a huge step forward. And you know, it's a big game coming for them now next Saturday evening down in Tullamore in front of their own fans, and Galway are coming in. So that'll be another good test for them. But they've shown last night that they were ready for the step up, which is great.
Big time. We'll come back to those games because, as you say, crucial. But your team, obviously, you're involved with Antrim and losing against Wexford yesterday. I think any time you come up against Wexford, you know you're going to have to do something about Lee Chin. I think when you see him scoring 16 points, you realise your team are in trouble.
Yeah, he was imperious yesterday. You know, he is the talisman, and he's just one of the best players in the game, and we got to see every skill that he has in his locker yesterday. He has all the tricks, and he's shown one to Joe Maskey here, and you know, he has the balance of a ballerina, but he tackles ferociously. He hits like a train. They leave the middle channel open for him constantly, and he runs into it with the deftest of touches here to set up another score. His striking is just so crisp, and like his aerial ability is probably above that of everybody other than TJ in the game now, and we'll see it again here. Like, they can just land ball down on top of him, and Antrim were, you know, in the driving seat for quite a bit of this game, but they always had an outlet in Lee Chin, and he was incredible. And we just see him alongside Jared Walsh there in the picture, and obviously Jared very sadly, you know, buried his sister last week. And Jared played really well for Antrim yesterday in the middle of the park, but as soon as the game was over, I was just pointing out to Liam there, you see Lee Chin making a beeline to share his condolences with him, and you know, a class act on and off the pitch is what Lee Chin is. Yeah, touch of class by him. For Antrim though, it does look, obviously he's involved, tricky time for him in it, but there's no doubt about it, they're struggling. No, they are struggling. And look, you know, Colin Rice was probably hard on them a few times yesterday. I watched the game back last night. But equally, you'd have to say that Lee Chin ran the show. But for Antrim, you know, the 2 goals they conceded were terrible. I mean, the second goal especially, I mean, they walked right through the middle and were, you know, had made no contact whatsoever. I think they only scored 19 points again yesterday. They scored 17 points again Offaly in the league. They scored 14 points again Dublin. And they need to get more of a goal threat, you know, because anywhere between 14 and 19 points is not going to win you a game in the Leinster Championship. So it's a big few weeks, and, you know, to put salt in the wounds up, come Kilkenny up next. So it's going to be tough. But if they continue that trend, they were very good at the start yesterday. But if that level of performance they brought yesterday is what they bring for the rest of the Championship, they're not going to survive. Let's close. Yeah, go. Yeah, I think it. You know, there's no doubt the Leinster Championship is going to be so hard, and Kilkenny come to town next week. It is really tough, but for 2 different periods of 20 minutes, Antrim were really good, but they didn't punish Wexford in the scoreline. And when you don't do that, and you have players of the quality of Lee Chin, you're going to be under pressure. Yeah, OK, fair enough. Well, let's close out Leinster then, because the Joe McDonagh Cup also got underway this weekend. And after being relegated from that Leinster Championship last year, Carlow were hoping to make a strong start in their bid to return to the top flight, as they faced a Down team who were recently crowned Division 2 champions.
In round 1 of the Joe McDonagh Cup, it was Carlow and Down in Netwatch Cullen Park. Chris Nolan scored the first of his goals in 29 minutes when taking a pass from Doyle. He found the bottom right-hand corner of the net at the interval. Carlow led 1-11 to 10 points. But Tom Mullally's side went goal crazy after the break with 5 green flags. St Mullins man and joint captain James Doyle with the second. And quarter forward, Chris Nolan registered his second goal in the 40th minute. Minutes later, the competitiveness of the game died when Nolan took a great pass from Marty Kavanagh, and Nolan completed his hat-trick. The umpires were busy waving those green flags as Paddy Boland got in the action with a lovely dummy to also hit the back of the net. Then it was Ted Joyce who completed the 6-goal haul in the final quarter as Carlow eased their way to a simple win. It will fill them with confidence as they travel to the Kingdom next weekend. Full-time score, Carlow 6-23, down 20 points.
So a huge win for Carlow to get their campaign underway. Laois had a good win against Westmeath, while Kerry had a 1-point victory away to Kildare. No doubt about it, standout result for Carlow, and you know that's the perfect start that they would have wanted.
Yeah, Chris Nolan with a hat-trick there. You know, he is an incredible finisher, really top-level player, but big one for Laois and Kerry. You know, that was a big one over Kildare for them, so 3 sides there, you know, it could be any of them.
Yeah, look, plenty of us to look forward to over that in the coming weeks, but that is it for the hurling. My thanks to Neil and to Liam. Peter and Cora will be with me after the break as we turn our attention to a busy weekend of football.
Championship. For more great shows, go to the RTE Player app on Sky.
Welcome back now to the Football Championship, and plenty on the line in Ulster as Monaghan and Donegal came face to face in Clonus today, while Jim McGuinness's Donegal have already impressed in their opening encounter against Derry. Much was expected of Division 2 champions Monaghan, who were the league's top scorers.
Well, there's a real feel of a big Ulster Championship day here at Clonus as Monaghan and Donegal go head-to-head for a place in the semi-finals. Gary Mohan takes on the shot here. Gary Mohan for Monaghan. And what a great score to open their account. Difficult enough angle, but he curled it over beautifully. And Monaghan take the lead. Donegal up to the Monaghan 45. Langan's hand pass across. There's plenty of space here for Darragh O'Boyle. He scored 1-4 against Derry, and he's got his first points here in the 9th minute. Well taken score by O'Boyle. And Donegal moved 2 points in front, 3 points to 1. Michael Murphy trying to pierce a way through. Disciplined defending from Monaghan. Murphy rides the challenge and gets away from Wiley. Now the shooting opportunity for the Donegal talisman. It's like he was never away. Michael Murphy with his first point of the game. And Donegal open up a 5-point lead. The break works out to Donegal's advantage as well. They're just taking control now. McHugh's hand pass forward to Kieran Thompson. He'll take on the shot here. Thompson curling that one over. And that really is a nice score. The cultured left boot of Kieran Thompson guiding over Donegal's 8th point of the game. Murphy off to Peadar Mogan now. He's already got 2. Peadar Mogan looking for a third, and that's the best of the bunch from Peadar Mogan, showing why he won an All-Star last year. 10 points to 4. Kieran Thompson around the challenge. This one's from outside the arc. This is for 2 for Donegal. Kieran Thompson drives it over the bar. Magnificent score. And had plenty to spare as well from Kieran Thompson. You can just see McCarran slipping back here, trying to set himself up maybe for a shot. Here's Conor McCarthy. Beggan has joined this attack as well. Long range shot coming in now. This is sailing in high and over the bar for 2. Outstanding points. And just what Monaghan needed. Desi Ward struck that one brilliantly, and that closes the gap down to 6 points. Conor McCarthy will wind up here for the 2-pointer. Oh, he struck that one well. Conor McCarthy. And that is just what Monaghan needed. Came onto possession nicely and helped by that breeze. McCarthy floats it over the bar. Makes it a 5-point game now. Beggan angles it out right underneath the stand there. Oh, Desi Ward did brilliantly, and he's found himself in some space as well. He has options too. Monaghan need a score from this attack. Desi Ward kicked a couple in the first half, comes back onto the left boot. Desi Ward from Monaghan. Brilliant. Raced onto the break here brilliantly, and then showing all his composure down the other end with a lovely score off the left boot. Donegal trying to work it into a shooting position. Shane O'Donnell, he might be through here, plays it back. Oh, great block. Langan with the goal opportunity. Monaghan survive. And now looking to launch a counter-attack. Shane O'Donnell just ghosted in there. Didn't like looked like there was a whole lot on, but Donegal made it happen. And now Monaghan looking to do likewise with Stephen O'Hanlon. First time we've seen him get an opportunity to really run with possession. Here's Jack McCarran. This would be a big score if they can get it. Jack McCarran for Monaghan. And over it goes for 2. That might just be the spark. It could so easily have been a Donegal goal down the other end, but Jack McCarran with a 2-pointer for Monaghan makes it a 3-point game. And now maybe it might open up here for Monaghan. This will be for 2 again. And the reaction of the crowd will tell you it has sailed over the bar from Micheál Bannigan. 4 points for him. And Monaghan moved to within 1. Still a 3-point game. We've got 15.5 minutes left to play in this Ulster quarter-final. Meeting with Down next week in the semi-final awaits the winner as Jamie Brennan gets involved for the first time since coming off the bench. Brennan sending it in high, and this one makes its way over the bar. Fine score from Jamie Brennan. Donegal extend their lead out to 4 points. Aaron Doherty into the edge of the D, shooting chance, and over it goes. Michael Langan again. He's having a fine game. Down it goes to Oisín Gallen, who spins away from the challenge. Now it's opening up. Player coming on the inside is Finbar Roarty. It finds its way back to the corner back eventually, and he looks to pop the point and does. He's having a great season, Finbar Roarty. And now he's got a point here for Donegal. McCarthy, we know he can kick 2-pointers, so can Ward. They need this one. Desi Ward, it's high. How's it for accuracy? It's over the bar. It's a 2-pointer. Another one for Desi Ward. And that makes it a 2-point game. We've still got 90 seconds left to play. Monaghan still in with a chance here. Gary Mohan. McCarran surely will have a goal from somewhere. Out it comes now to Desi Ward again. He couldn't do it again, could he? It's Desi Ward for Monaghan to level it up. He's dragged it to the left and wide. Was that the chance? Patton will drive it long. We'll have the hooter shortly. Who'll claim it? Ball is out for a line ball. It's out for a Monaghan line ball. So there will be one final opportunity, you suspect. And there goes the hooter, and the referee says the game is over. Monaghan are protesting that the ball was back in play. Now some confusion. Monaghan are incensed. It's finished in Clonus. Donegal 23 points, Monaghan 21 points.
Well, the other Ulster quarter-final yesterday saw Fermanagh host Down in Brewster Park in what was a first championship outing of the year for both counties.
Conor McGee, he started brightly anytime they've been able to get him the ball. A cry of steps from the sideline. Here come Fermanagh now, surging forward. Shay Cullen is up, Garvin Jones, and Jones scores. Well, that was easy enough, really, wasn't it, from Fermanagh? Conor McGee was outstanding, and then Garvin Jones got his first point of the game. 3-all. Ryan McAvoy. McAvoy, that's a good ball, and they opened up some space in front of the full forward line. John McGeough. McGeough is in super form, scored heavily against Westmeath in the league. This is Eugene Brannigan, and Eugene steadies down and scores. So they're matching each other point for point in the first 13.5 minutes. Peter Fagan for Down. Well, they knew it was going to be difficult here at Brewster Park. Here's James Guinness, lightning fast counter-attack. Eugene Brannigan is free. Brannigan gets his second score. Could he have taken it a bit closer? There were defenders between him and Sean McNally. Oh, that's a wonderful take by Oran Murdoch, and off he goes. The Fermanagh players careful not to go near him in the first 4 metres. Here is Murdoch again. This is lovely football. Guinness! It's a point. He wanted a goal, Daniel Guinness. 2 in a row for Down, and there goes 6-5 clear now. What a catch by Oran Murdoch. That's a great take by Murdoch. He's doing really well. Oran Murdoch just keeps it simple. Let the ball go. Keelan Doherty and now Danny McGill, and Down are absolutely flying at the moment. Simple stuff, just win the kick out. And that's the beauty of these rules from an attacking sense. What a catch by Murdoch. And Danny McGill applied the finish. So they lead by double scores now. Declan McCusker gets through so much work, and off he goes, the solo and go from the Fermanagh captain. That's a good ball too into Ryan Lyons. Lyons gets the shot away, that's lovely. And a massive roar from the Fermanagh supporters inside Brewster Park. They're now back to within a point. 3 without reply for Fermanagh. First score of the day for Ryan Lyons. Fionn O'Brien. Conor Love wants to get it onto his left boot. He has it on the left. Conor Love, that's gorgeous. Well, you gotta love that. Conor Love. And the teams are level. Lee Cullen. And Lee going for glory. That is absolutely incredible from Lee Cullen. What a stunner. The point of the day, or the 2-pointer of the day so far, from the fullback. And I tell you, you could watch this over and over again. Fermanagh absolutely flying in Brewster Park. This is Caleb Doherty. Doherty lost the ball. It came back to Patrick Brooks. He's only on the field about 30 seconds. Daniel Guinness for 2 points. They need this. They badly need it. And Guinness has scored. Daniel Guinness gives them a lifeline. Ryan McAvoy. Daniel Guinness. Won't be for 2 this time. Trying to cut right through the middle of the Fermanagh defence. Guinness with the shot. Goal! Wonderful from Daniel Guinness. What a strike that is. And Down have come to life. They are 2 points behind. 65th minute. What a goal that was. Guinness goes again. Referee playing an advantage. They will have a chance to win it. We're in the last minute now. Here they come. Down trying to walk it through. Is there a goal-scoring opportunity? McAvoy, goal! Ryan McAvoy has won it surely for Down with about 45 seconds to go. 2:19 to 22 points. They lead by 3. Declan McCusker has the responsibility of chipping this ball in around the edge of the square. Can they get hands on it? The point has been scored, but it's not enough. They needed a goal, and they didn't get it. And Kieran Donnelly's team, with 10 minutes to go, with 8 minutes to go, they were leading by 7 points. Down are into the Ulster semi-final, and they have beaten Fermanagh in Brewster Park by 2 goals and 19 to 23 points.
So Down advanced to an Ulster semi-final against Donegal next weekend. Armagh and Tyrone in that other semi-final. Let's start with Donegal first, Cora. And the end of the game, it finishes with this hooter. It seems like everybody is in a little bit of chaos. But walk us through what's happening here.
Yeah, so Desi Ward had a chance to level it from a 2-pointer. Sean Patton kicks the ball out, and we see Jason McGee and Gavin McPhillips go up for the ball. Hits off Jason McGee, and Ryan O'Toole is about to take the sideline ball. But as he's delaying and taking the sideline ball, the hooter goes. And you can see from this then the Monaghan players start to remonstrate. Gabriel Brannigan starts to remonstrate, but David Goldrick got it right in the end. If Ryan O'Toole had got the ball in probably a split second or a second earlier, it was game on, but the ball was out of play when the hooter wins. So that means that the game is then finished. Obviously, both the Monaghan management and the Monaghan players were unsure of the rule, but David Goldrick got it right. Ryan O'Toole had a chance to get it in before the hooter went, and then it was game on until the ball went dead, but unfortunately it didn't. So a cruel way for it to end for Monaghan because they had such a good comeback, but you know, David Goldrick ultimately got the rule right.
Yeah, there was 2 big calls went against Monaghan. That was one, as Cora has explained, the referee got that right, but earlier on in the game 2 sides had actually breached the halfway rule, and he gave a free in to Donegal. Ball taken up 50 metres. Michael Murphy kicks it over for 2 points. So I think Gabriel Bannigan actually referenced that after the game. But sore on them the second time, but the ref got it right at the end.
Yeah, those 2 tight 2-point games, all of these count. But one thing was for sure, Donegal have showed us they can play all kinds of football, Peter. They seem to have every trick in the book.
Well, I don't know if they can play all kinds because they don't kick it in too often.
When they do, it works,
though. But they're brilliant at when they're faced with one-on-one situations. They're not afraid to take their man on, and be it Michael Murphy or Finbar Roorday in the cornerback, they'll go after them. This case it's Michael Murphy, and in fairness to Monaghan, they pushed out, they went after Donegal, but Donegal's movement inside, the running off the ball, there's always so many options for the man in possession, and in this case it was Kieran Thompson. He's inside the shooting zone for Donegal. Their efficiency in the first half, I think they had 13 shots and they scored 12 times. And again, we're faced with one-on-one. Kieran Moore, not afraid to take on his man again. He does offload it. Now, there's an opportunity to kick the ball in here. Michael Murphy's half indicating here, you can kick it in here you want, but he knows Pedro Mugan's not. Space in front of him. And again, from a really strong scoring position, he kicks it over the bar. Another one-on-one situation. You know, Donegal have been criticised for not kicking too many 2-pointers. The reason, if you see their shot map, the heat map of where they took their shots, it's nearly all inside the 40-metre line. They're so programmed. And even scores coming from Sean Patton. Again, Monaghan aggressive, pushing up. What about that for a narrow of a kick-out? When Shane O'Donnell gets it, there's space up inside to kick the ball inside. Oisin Gallen, whilst he's free, he knows that the ball's not going to be kicked in. Kieran Moore does a hard run in front. Now there's space there. He carries the ball to Oisin Gallen, and that's a textbook score from a Donegal point of view. And whilst they were brilliant at that, the only downside was it takes a lot out of the body, you know, playing that type of game. There's a lot of hard running in it, and towards the end they did start to tire and not give Monaghan the chance to come back into the game.
But I think on the back of that, when you look what they can bring off the bench, in Oisin Gallen, an all-star, Jamie Brennan, who kicked 2 brilliant points, Jason McGee, they have the players as well on the bench as well to bring off, and you know, their efficiency is off the charts and has been for most of the year. So Jim McGuinness will be very happy after that performance today.
Yeah, well, they can look forward to an Ulster semi-final against Down, and I think maybe they might find themselves lucky to be in this, because this is a wild game as well. And you look at the performance of Conor Love and what he did, he must feel, how was I on the losing team here, Peter?
Yeah, a wild game. There's 12 goal-scoring opportunities, Down at 8, and Fermanagh failed to take 4, and it cost them, for all the talk about 2-pointers. But yeah, you're right about Conor Love. This man put on an exhibition in the corner, and again, we've seen in recent games the amount of one-on-one opportunities are for inside players to display what they're made of. And this is him coming to the big stage and putting on one hell of a performance, not only in scoring points, but in this case, his setting up. And we're going to get a better look at how he actually wins this ball. It just looks there as if he fumbled it. He didn't. He let it go through his legs, passed it to Garvin Jones, waiting on the return. If he had got back, there's the wee flick just between the legs, because he knew if he had went to ground, he wouldn't have got it. If the ball had been returned to him, a goal chance was on. But from a Fermanagh perspective, they'll be devastated. They had got themselves into a real good position and just weren't able to see it out.
They were 7 points up with 8 minutes to go, but suddenly down. This is the biggest smash and grab in the Ulster Championship.
Well, if Love was brilliant for Fermanagh, Daniel Guinness was equally as good for Down, and it was a 2-pointer. I think Ryan McAvoy referenced after the game that it was a 2-pointer by Guinness that really got them going, and when that went over, this is it here, the ball played out to them, 7 down. At this stage they're 5 down, and following that, Fermanagh had 7 kickouts and they only won 1. So the reason for Down's dominance was that man, Owen Murdoch, in the middle of the pitch. This is the same move. It ends up with Daniel Guinness. From there, there's no way you would think he should be able to penetrate that Fermanagh defence. and from there stick it in the back of net. But if you see it behind the goals, the reason why those Fermanagh players didn't get back into that defence, normally they would, they're afraid of Down getting 2 pointers, and hence that gap opened up. And even when he was there, Sean McNally blinded by the Down and Fermanagh player in front of him, and that is why Guinness was able to score easily from that range. So at the end of the game, there's Conor Laverty talking to his men, wondering how the hell did we get out of this game, because they shouldn't have come out of Brewster with the points yesterday.
Well, suddenly they're in an Ulster semi-final that no one's going to give them a hope for either, though, Cora. Do you expect them to give Donegal a challenge?
I'm not too sure. I think Donegal, while the game was tight today, they never looked like losing to Monaghan. I think Down, it was definitely a smash and grab against Fermanagh. Donegal will go in as overwhelming favourites. Nobody's going to give Down a chance, but that'll probably suit them.
The other one is the spicy affair, Peter, isn't it? I mean, Tyrone Armagh, everybody's expecting this is going to be fireworks.
Well, hopefully, you would anticipate that the two teams will go at it well. Armagh's All-Ireland champions, and the last time Tyrone played them in the athletic grounds, they got a lesson. So you'd like to think they've learned something from that and improved a bit. So, yeah, look, it's very well set up, and one not to be missed.
I think Jackie goes on a certain Derek Hanavan, how fit he is. Peter wasn't giving much away today, but I think Tyrone have a really good chance against Armagh. I think they were excellent the last day out, missing a couple of big names, and I think they're going to give Armagh a right rattle.
Yeah, we'll find out next weekend, won't we? Now, one of the most storied fixtures in GAA. Some have argued it has lost its lustre in recent times, with few giving the Rebels much chance. But sometimes this game has a way of making a mockery of form lines.
Backfires Matty Taylor. On his shoulder was Sean McDonald. Back to Brian O'Driscoll. Shoots. Oh, this is a really good effort. And it's over the bar. Brian O'Driscoll with a 2-pointer. David Clifford being pursued by Daniel O'Mahony. Clifford deadly on the left, brilliant on the right, take your choice. And that is going over the bar. David Clifford has touched the ball 4 times in the opening 15 minutes, and he scored 4 points. Slipping and sliding. There's been appalling rain here over the last 24 hours in Cork, making, as you did see, and now you do see, an opportunity, and that is sent over the bar. Over towards Colin O'Callaghan. Back to Brian O'Driscoll. Oh, he hit it really well, Brian O'Driscoll. And that's a 2-pointer. This is not Brian O'Driscoll that played with Leinster in Ireland. This is Brian O'Driscoll from West Cork. And he's a very, very good footballer. Chris Oak-Jones. Double mark to the moment. Lays it back. Shot is a bit optimistic. But do you know what? It is utter class. Brilliant score from out the field. Difficult enough angle, but it was hit absolutely beautifully. Nice ball. Up towards Paul Gainey. Cutting in. Thought about having a go. Lays it off to David Clifford, and that's over the bar. Kerry needed it, to be honest with you. They just had lost their mojo. They'd lost their momentum. But it took Paul Gainey and David Clifford to settle the nerves. And Kerry win the possession back. Goalkeeper retreating to the goalpost at the Blackrock end, while Kerry come forward. And they score. Just when Cork had the momentum, Kerry seemed to have the composure and the class to come forward, and Jacko knows it, that was a point that they richly needed. Dr. Cokes and Kerry keeper looking at his options. At the end of it all, he goes straight down the middle. Well won. Easy ball for Joe Connor. Good work here by Paddy Clifford. Danger here. Back of the net. Paul Gainey is on fire. 33 years of age, and he's still producing the magic. Paddy Clifford created it. Gainey finished it. Dangani Kush will be very proud tonight. Matty Taylor. High challenge by Paddy Clifford. Paddy knows it was a high challenge as well. This could be ominous. This could be serious for Paddy Clifford. Now, is it going to be yellow or red? It's a red. And Paddy Clifford is sent off on a straight red. Cork have numerical advantage, 117 to 13 points. They've got to create opportunities here now. Ball is sent in by Carl O'Mahony from Mitchelstown, and that's over the bar. That's one back. That's 2 points, actually. That's a very good score. Over towards Sean McDonald. Going for a two-pointer. Oh, he hit it magnificently. Sean McDonald scores a sensational two-pointer. It's 117 to 17 points. And Cork are on a roll. The pendulum of power has swung back to the Rebel County. Shot a goal. Brilliant. Chris Oak-Jones has leveled the match on 61 minutes. Going to happen according to all the experts in the storyline. Kerry will win easily. But when it's Cork and Kerry, forget the script. All bets are off. This would be a major talking point. Headlines in tomorrow's Sunday papers if this could happen. Rory Dean from Bantry blows, hits it high, heading into the city. The umpire bends his back and a white flag has been raised. And Cork are incredibly in front, 118 to 117. Kerry know that an equaliser is on the cards every time they go into the attack. Whether it be with Sean O'Shea or the Gainies. Great running, great running! Oh my word! Sensational! It's that man, Sean O'Shea. He's been out injured, but now he's back. He took on the Cork defence, who lapsed into a state of slumber here. They allowed him to run, and he cracked it past Micheál A. Martin in the goals. Ball inside, towards the stand. Ball almost given away. Well won by Rory Dean. Gathering his Colm O'Callaghan. Opportunity on its way. Owen McSweeney having a go. Is it in target? The umpire will wave the white flag. The sides are level. Sean O'Shea with the ball. Laying it off. Here comes the shot. It's going outside the post and wide. We are going to have extra time. Frontal charge on Joe O'Connor. The Kerry players are now protesting. The referee wants to have a word with Sean Brady. Now it depends on the colour of the card. It's a straight red. Numerical advantage over for Cork. Kerry leading by 1. 5 minutes gone in the first period of extra time. Cork had so many opportunities to score. This is Kerry's second opportunity. You just can't beat class. Beautiful score. David Clifford, a two-pointer. Can he make an angle for himself? Thought about having a go. Carl O'Mahony won't be afraid to have a go if there was an opportunity. On the outside the 40-metre line, it is Owen McSweeney, and he's done it again. Incredible. Cork are exposed down the right wing. Opportunity coming. Ball inside, takes a shot. Oh my goodness! What an absolute cracker! Unbelievable. When you need somebody to step up to the challenge, this is how you do it. Now nobody could stop that. Cork now trying to find themselves trailing by 2 points, but it's not over yet. Cork responds magnificently. Conor Callahan skipping by. The gap is open. Here comes the shot. Oh! It just goes centimetres wide. Comes to Carl O'Mahony. He's going to go for it. He takes the shot. Is it on its way? It's wide. And with it goes Cork's prospects of continuing on in the Munster Football Championship. Cork, 1 goal, 25 points. Kerry, 3 goals and 21 points. After extra time, it's going to be Clare against Kerry in the Munster Football Final.
Yeah, we'll get to that other semi-final shortly, but what drama. And in so many ways, this just felt like the game of the weekend, Peter.
Yeah, I was telling the boys earlier, by far the best game of the weekend. Look, for the first 15 or 20 minutes, I was watching it last night thinking this is going to be so predictable. Kerry were dominant, winning the ball, kicking it inside. Clifford was getting it, kicking it over the bar. Cork was standing back watching them. And after about 20 minutes, Cork decided we can't play like this anymore. And they upped the stakes when it came to the physicality side of things. And from then to the rest of the game, you were engrossed in it. It was fantastic. The physicality was immense. The hits that went in, you had high fielding, you had controversial decisions, and you had some brilliant scores. And for so many of the games this year, all the talk's been about the 2-pointers that have won the game for the winning team. Last night it was the goals that won it for Kerry, and they've been doing that all year. So fantastic entertainment, and it was a proper Munster Championship football match. That's typical Cork and Kerry.
Yeah, it certainly was. As Peter says, not without its controversial calls though, Cora. Let's take a look at these.
Yeah, there was probably 3 massive calls in the game. The first one was Paudie Clifford's red card. You know, when you look at it, I suppose in real time it looked, looked high. It was very high, but I don't think there was massive intent to be caught around the neck. I thought Matty Taylor probably made a meal of it, and it was a huge time for Cork, for Kerry. The second one, Joe O'Connor goes up to catch the ball. Sean Brady goes in, and it's a slap across the chest. I think the linesman was the guy that called it and thought it was shoulder to the face, and this was again a huge call for Cork. 2 red cards in my eyes. There wasn't a red card, and this was another huge call. Sean O'Shea, how many steps does he take at this stage? He bounced it there. We're thinking probably about 9 steps. Now, he was fouled. In the meantime, he was pulled back, but it should have been called back from a free. That puts Kerry a point up in extra time. I think there's about 5 minutes left. So, there were 3 huge calls. 2 obviously went against Cork, one went against Kerry. Paudie Clifford was having a huge influence on the game. He was man of the match at that stage when we went off. So, there was a couple of decisions. The 2 red cards in particular, in my eyes, weren't red cards.
Yeah, huge decisions, but in a lot of ways, as Cora said, some of those decisions go against Cork, but it's not the reason they lose this game, because, Peter, they weren't short of chances in extra time.
Yeah, when they look back on it, they missed chances, yeah, but when they look back on the poor start as well, they will say, why were we so slow to settle and to get stuck into Kerry? This is Paul Geaney in the corner, about 4 or 5. There is spare Cork men there, but they're standing watching him. He's bouncing, soloing the ball, doing what he wants, gives it out to a man coming in, doing what he wants, kicks it over under no pressure. And that was the case for the first 20 minutes. But thereafter, there was pressure applied on every Kerry man that got a ball, pressure on the way out. This time, there's a Kerry man about to pick it, and instead of the 3 Cork men stand back watching it, they're in right away. And even when they do win it, there's an appetite to move the ball forward. So that carried on for the rest of the game. But when they had Kerry at their mercy, their downfall was their finishing. And in the first, 3 or 4 minutes of extra time, I think it was 1-4 that they missed, and they paid the penalty.
Some of their shooting in extra time in particular, they had 9 wides. They had 14 shots in extra time to Kerry's 4. As I said, 9 wides in that time. And some of the shots, this was a huge chance by Chris O'Jones. A brilliant save, but was the option at that time to put them even further ahead and put the ball or fist the ball over the bar. They'll be really disappointed. 14 wide. Some of their shots, they were relying on a lot of 2-pointers, but had massive chances to win it, particularly in extra time. So yeah, it was very disappointing. I'm sure John Cleary, that's be an element they'll look back during the week and think that's a game they certainly could have won.
Then on the other side, it's Kerry's efficiency that when they get that chance, they take it, with Joe O'Connor's goal.
Yeah, absolutely. He was immense. Shane Ryan was a big loss going off. This is him in extra time, and I've no doubt it was their kickouts, because Murphy and Kerry were struggling to win their own kickouts. If Ryan had been there, pressure kickouts, he's superb at doing that one at the edge of the D. But Murphy, his tactic was clear for the last 3 or 4. Where's Joe O'Connor? Wherever he is, we're hitting him. And O'Connor won every single one of them. This one that he won a few seconds later, He's right up where Cork weren't expecting him, whereas Sean O'Shea needed 9, Joe needed 3 steps, and what a finish. And he has carried on that form. He's been brilliant for Kerry throughout, him and Paddy Clifford in particular. And when Clifford wasn't there, that man really stood up, and Kerry have to thank him for getting them over the line.
Yeah, because there's no doubt about it. They got a scare last night, Cora, and there will be question marks about Kerry after that performance.
Yeah, there will, and you have to give huge credit to Cork. After 20 minutes of that game, I think Kerry were 10-11-4 up and were cruising. And again in the second half, when 4 or 5 points up, Paddy Clifford went off, but Cork came back. There will be question marks, but I think Kerry would prefer that type of match, that type of game, than an easy game. They need to be challenged. But there is question marks. There's still probably over-reliance on both David and Paddy Clifford, and we could see Paddy's loss, when he got sent off. So there is question marks, but it's very early days. It's first day out. I don't think Jack will be overly worried.
Yeah, that's for John Cleary to consider as well after a huge morale-boosting performance by his team. Well, Clare hosted Tipperary in yesterday's other Munster semi-final. The Banner looking to reach a 3rd successive provincial decider.
It was the first championship meeting between Clare and Tip since 2020, and a big opportunity for both, as the winner would secure a place in the Munster final. It was a slow but dramatic start as the man in the middle, James Malloy, awarded a penalty. A missed opportunity for Stephen O'Brien as he hit the upright above the crossbar, much to the relief of the Banner. Clare were slow to get into the game, but they responded well to the penalty. Owen Cleary set up Mark McInerney, who rattled it with 18 minutes on the clock. Clare were cruising. This point from Kilmehel man Kieran Downs gave them a 6-point advantage heading towards the half-time whistle. But the visitors' gained momentum. Points from Mark Russell, Emmett Maloney, and this 2-pointer for Dara Brennan only had 2 points between them at the break. It was 1-8 to 9 points. There were some ugly scenes as both teams headed into the dressing room at the interval. This resulted in a player from each side, Alan Sweeney and Mark Stokes, being black-carded for the resumption. Peter Keane's men got the second half off to a good start as McInerney slotted home his second goal in the 44th minute, which will be the start of a 1-6 unanswered surge. It was 2-10 to 10 points. It was an anxious ending for the home side as Tip fought back. An excellent 2-pointer from the boot of Paddy Feehan brought the deficit back to 9. In injury time, substitute Sean O'Connor raised a green flag, but it was too late to ignite the comeback for the Premier County. It was Clare's first Munster Senior Football Championship victory over neighbours Tip in 25 years in Ennis, and the Banner marched on to their 3rd Munster final in a row. It finished Clare 2-18, Tipperary 1-15.
Yeah, so as Valerie says, they're a big, impressive win over their neighbours, but more importantly, they've got a Munster final to look forward to, Cora.
Yeah, 3rd Munster final in a row. And obviously they've had a lot of change in the last 12 months. Colm Collins, who was there for over a decade, and Peter Keane comes in. And, they've a lot of players that have, stepped away as well. So to be back in a Munster final and to be in the Sam Maguire, I think it's very good for Clare football. And, for Peter Keane to get back there in his first year, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, Munster football final in Killarney on the Sunday of the Maybank holiday weekend. A big day for Banner supporters to look forward to. Time for us to take another programme break here, and all the action from the Connacht Championship is on the way very shortly.
For more great shows, go to the RTE Player app on Sky.
Welcome back now to the Connacht Championship, where Galway are chasing a 4th consecutive provincial title, the latest obstacle in their path. A Roscommon team who have given their provincial rivals plenty of trouble in the past. Could the Rossies cause another upset today?
Who will win, Roscommon or Galway?
A place in the Connacht final at stake.
This is the 68th meeting of Galway and Roscommon in the championship. Shane Conan of St. Bridget's, Dermot Murta the Roscommon captain. Now that's up to David Murray, the fullback, so they've got their corresponding numbers at the back correct. Here is Colin Neary, and Neary, you can see the sort of impression he's made on this team this year.
His first season, he's settled really into it. Murray above, slipped it out. Nice finish from Colin Neary.
Paul Conroy thought for a moment he was going to kick it long. Big two-point threat for him. Rob Finnerty wins it again. Niall Higgins is the defender. Finnerty again didn't shoot. Paul Conroy will off his left boot, and that's a nice score for Paul Conroy. They got through easily. They lead 3-1.
Yeah, great ball inside from Conroy.
Gleeson got huge distance on that, and it's come to Cian Darcy. Clean take from the kick out. Now John Marr. Marr shifts it left to Killian McDade. There's options in behind here. Carroll out of his line. Rob Finnerty. Goal chance. Finnerty gets the point. That had goal written all over it. There was real hesitation in the Roscommon defence. The loop on the pass didn't help them at all. Sean Kelly. Kelly drinking one way, then the other. He's really fit this year. Look at that. Kelly bursting through, lets the ball go. It's come back out to Sean Mulcairn. Appeals for a penalty. Kelly in around the back. It kissed off the post, and it's in the back of the net from Matthew Tierney. He was the quickest to react after the ball came off the upright. Galway get their goal.
Fairness to Matthew Tierney, when the ball rebounded to him, it was a brilliant finish, low into the corner. Sean Kelly off the post, and then a good finish. Kept it down, hard to stop.
Paul Conroy with the foot pass. Brilliant movement from Matthew Tierney. The pass wasn't bad either. Dylan McHugh has to check back out. Matthew Tierney on the end of it again. Paul Conroy. Conroy going for two. He likes that one. He really does. And that's what they were doing very much so in the early stages of the league. He's such a threat from there and further out. That is Cian McKeown. And McKeown had to drop the ball. Then it squirts loose and Galway turn it over. Big roar around Pearse Stadium. And then they return the ball to Roscommon, and here they come. Here's an opportunity for Ben O'Carroll, and O'Carroll scores. Galway had that under control, it seemed, but nobody told Roscommon. There's, well, it was a brief hooter. Well, that's a bit better. Here's Paul Conroy for two. This will end the first half, and they end it on a real high. And that's a big score, and it'll give them a huge confidence boost going in at half-time to swell their lead by 2 points. Colin Neary of Roscommon, Enda Smith. Now Neary is tracked by Cian Darcy. Smith goes back to Kieran Murta. That'll be for two. It's outside, and that's brilliant from Kieran Murta. Maybe that's the spark and the moment they needed just to really come to life in Salt Hill. Eddie Nolan. Dermot Murta going for two. Oh, that is absolutely brilliant. Wonderful from Dermot Murta. Galway just didn't put him under enough pressure, so the two scores they've gotten in the second half have been two two-pointers. It's Brian Stack with him. That's not a good pass. And Keith Doyle could feel the presence of John Marr behind him, and they've managed to turn the ball over. Sean Mulcairn, I think it was caught at the side of the face accidentally. Massive amount of space. Roscommon have lost their shape completely. Now it's Killian McDade. He's really quick. McDade for his second point of the game. And Roscommon, architects of their own misfortune there. They had control of that and lost it out here, and Galway pounced. Kieran Murta and Enda Smith tight to him. Well, Karen has done quite a job on him when he's been close to him. 6 minutes since Roscommon scored. Two two-pointers and a one-pointer. Here's Donny Smith for two. Oh, yes. That is absolutely outrageous. Just keeps the scoreboard ticking over. They are still there, Roscommon.
Yeah, lovely score. He was aware he was on advantage and just had a pop at it.
Matthew Tierney and Cian Darcy. I think it's at least 6, is it, that he's caught clean? Won't be able to leave him out of the team for the next day, whenever that is. Will it be in 2 weeks' time? Galway moving through the gears again in the Connacht final. Here they come, and that is from one end of the field to the other. Liam Silk from the kick out. Darcy catches, sets up the attack. It's slick, it's fluid, it's fabulous football. That is a very impressive display from Galway. Roscommon tried their absolute best, but Galway were just able to respond whenever they needed to, and they've won here, and they've won big by 124 to 18 points.
The other semi-final yesterday saw Mayo travel to Carrick-on-Shannon to face a Leitrim team who've had a turbulent few weeks.
Mayo scored first on a very wet day in Carrick-on-Shannon with a second-minute point, but Leitrim, the massive underdogs, got on level terms when Darren Cox pointed 6 minutes later. Leitrim then had the temerity to take the lead as a 2-point free was converted by Barry McNulty, but Mayo led 4 points to 3 before McNulty put Leitrim ahead again as he put over another 2-pointer in the 20th minute. The sides began to trade scores to the half-time break as the weather conditions refused to relent. It was Mayo midfielder Jack Carney who put them 6-5 in front with a point from play. Mayo goalkeeper Colin Reap scored a 45 and Ryan O'Donoghue put over a free. But it was Darren Cox again who split the post for Leitrim to leave Mayo leading 8-7 at the interval. Leitrim continued to keep the game tight after the restart, and again there was just a point between the sides when Jordan Flynn put the ball over the bar, and they're now led by 2 against the plucky home side. Remarkably, Leitrim, who finished with no points in Division 3 this season, again reduced the margin to 1 when Tom Pryor pointed. Pryor probably disappointed that he didn't actually get a goal. But Mayo then found an extra gear and put over 5 unanswered points by the 54th minute. Jack Carney also split the Leitrim uprights, and the lead now out to 6. Leitrim, who couldn't field the side to face Fermanagh in the league, just wouldn't roll over though, and Barry McNulty's 2-point conversion reduced the margin to 4. Beautiful score with the outside of the boot. Leitrim's brave challenge, though, ran out of steam. Mayo moved into the Connacht final, winning by 7 points in the end, their final point coming from the boot of Ryan O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue scored 9 points of Mayo's total in Carrick-on-Shannon as they eventually saw off Leitrim as they finished Leitrim 13 points, Mayo 20.
So another Mayo-Galway Connacht final to look forward to, and let's look at the performance of Galway first, Peter, and again, midfield crucial. They seem to be just driving forward at every opportunity.
Yeah, they lorded the skies. They won 16 out of 20 of their own kick-out and 10 of Roscommon's. But Anda and Kieran last week in their analysis spoke about how teams would be working on their midfield. In this case, 2 players holding off a Roscommon man to allow Cian Darcy. When Galway had their kick-outs, they had a wall of big men out round the middle to take their pick from. And again, aimed at Liam Silk. He has no intention of going for it. He holds his man back. Cian Darcy comes over, wins it, and gives them the platform. Once again, something very similar. Paul Connery this time, standing his ground, making sure his man doesn't get in, Keith Doyle, allowing Darcy to come in. This happened time and time again. And even when they weren't able to win it clean, the 2 men, in this case Darcy and Maher, in the dominant position, directly behind the jumper, directly in front. The ball breaks there. And it's not only that they were winning it. Look at the pace of Maher there in the middle of your screen in particular, driving forward. And time after time, they presented Rob Finnerty with easy chances, and you compare Finnerty with Ben O'Carroll up front, who had a brilliant battle with Johnny Flaherty in the full forward line. But Finnerty was getting that much ball, it was inevitable he was going to score. But the big difference in this Galway team, not only winning more ball around the middle, the amount of easy chances they were creating for themselves. A couple of years ago, they were scoring wonder scores. Now they're much more efficient, working it to the right shooter and getting easier scores. So very impressive performance from start to finish.
Yeah, and conversely, when you compare that with Mayo, Cora, it just seems maybe Galway had it coming a little bit easier than Mayo did yesterday.
Yeah, Mayo were very average yesterday. I suppose it's a very difficult game. You're going up to Leitrim expecting to win by a lot, but they were just so sloppy in a lot of the things. You know, I've picked out 5 or 6 clips here, but I could have probably picked out 15 or 16, just basic errors. Now, the conditions weren't great, but David Neary taking the ball into contact, a high solo, loses it. You see here, Jack Carney just, you know, lack of concentration, went to solo the ball, loses it. Great tackle by Barry McNulty. But this was all over the pitch. Matthew Ruan, you know, who was taken off at half-time, I don't know when that's happened before. A very poor shot from 21 yards, dropped short. Donica McHugh here kicked the kick pass, went astray, and Rose Akram tried to give a hand pass, went out over the sideline. As I said, there was probably 15 or 16 of them that you could pick out. So, Kevin McStay, I suppose, would be worried over the last kind of 2 weeks' time against Sligo, the league final. They've been very sloppy and just haven't been at the races. So nothing better to tune in and get you ready than Galway at home in Castlebar in 2 weeks' time. But they've a lot of work to do. Compare that with Galway and their performance today. So, yeah, Galway will go in as raging hot favourites for the Connacht final. But as we've seen Cork and Kerry, when it's a big rivalry, anything can happen.
Yeah. I think that's probably a good way of putting it. And as we round off the weekend, Peter, a lot of the big major contenders have been in action. Who's impressed you the most?
Well, Galway, for the reasons we mentioned, their scoring efficiency, their midfield dominance of man markers. Johnny McGrath, not Johnny Flaherty. I think he played hurling for Offaly. They have ticked all the boxes, and that was without Walsh and Comer today. Donegal at times looked brilliant, didn't finish out the game, but never really looked like losing it. And their ball carrying style still very familiar, whereas Kerry were able to mix it up. They're able to carry it, they're able to kick it in, but without Paddy they struggled. But I think there's more to come from them as well. So we've seen 3 of the big 4, and they're looking okay.
Yeah. OK, that's a good word, which we'll have to leave it there for tonight. My thanks to Cora and to Peter for their company through the evening. Don't forget, we are back next weekend, of course, with another double helping of hurling and football action. We will see you then.
30 iguales. 30 all.
I mean, it honestly doesn't come much better than that. I mean, what a fantastic strike off the return of serve, opening up the court, creating a huge gap into that backhand corner. And the way she's moving the ball around at the moment, it really couldn't be much better.
Wait, please.
And again, just all over the second serve. Such a clean strike on return. What a start this has been from Bencic. 4-love in 15 minutes. I hope Emma Raducanu's watching. Next on court.
Yeah, she might start to think about her warm-ups quite shortly if this match carries on at this pace.
Quince 0, 15 love.
Well, she's only missed one of her 10 first serves so far, Bencic. Remarkable accuracy. And there's another one. And they're just too good, Annabelle. They're too strong for Sonmez. She's not used to these sort of deliveries.
And it's also the accuracy. You know, quite a lot of these first serves are landing to the line and really pinpoint accuracy and then taking off from the surface with speed. That's a great response, isn't it?
It is. And it's good to see as well, isn't it? Someone who's being thoroughly outplayed so far, deciding to herself, right, I've got to take matters into my own hands.
Yeah, she made a conscious decision to take that ball early and come forward. Wonderful drive volley into the open space and used her legs well on that approach shot as well.
Iguales. 30 all.
It almost seems like that sort of sudden attack to the net has actually earned her 3 points. It's just created a tiny bit of doubt down the other end.
It really is amazing how it goes, isn't it? 30 love in this game. Bencic hitting a couple of excellent serves. Then that point, as you say, won by Sonmez. And it is break-back point. Oh, quality, really good play Somers defending well in her corners, and Bencic having to play quite superbly to finish the point off.
And look again how she's taken that ball so early, does not want to get pushed behind that baseline, so she uses her legs instead to absorb what's coming at her, and again, change of direction into the open space. Just starting to miss a few more first serves, isn't she?
Two double faults from the last 3 points. But that's why we talk about disrupting the flow. When a player's in a rhythm on serve, just do what you can to throw your opponent off. And Somers tried something different at 30 love in this game, and it worked.
Iguales, 10.
I can see the frustration just building a little bit, and it was an opportunity, and she'll feel a bit disappointed. She just didn't quite get enough height on that. Closed the racket face a little bit too early in the swing. She's made Bencic work a lot harder to try and get this service game secured. Giving her a bit more to think about.
Unerring accuracy, and Bencic comes through the game saving 2 break points to lead 5-2. Somers made it closer, but Bencic still had the answers. So with Bencic 1 game away from the first set, we'll take a look at another match point from the first round of matches in the courts. And this was a terrific effort from the 19-year-old Maya Joint to turn around this deciding set against Carlota Martinez Jerez from Spain. Joint was behind 3-1, but serving for the match at 5-4, and it's a comeback victory for the teenager. He's won through qualifying and puts out the wild card. And this a win for Anastasia Sevastova of Latvia, 6-4, 7-5 against Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova, former Roland Garros finalist. This very tight second set, but it took the 12th game for Sevastova to get the break and close out the match on a second match point. So big challenge facing Zeynep Solmaz from Turkey, the qualifier, looking for her first tour level main draw win on clay today. But Belinda Bencic with absolutely no intention of allowing that to happen today. Serving at love 5, the Turk.
Gracias, señor. La música del teléfono. Gracias.
I think for most of this first set, Jonathan, we haven't really been allowed to see what Sommet is capable of, because Bencic has done such a great job of taking away all her strengths and just taking the racket away from her. There's no question, she really hits a beautiful ball. It hasn't had much time on the ball.
She's very grateful to see that land in the hitting zone, though, that drive volley.
That's a shame. Set the point up well, was on top of the net.
15 all.